I'm getting cooked in this fucking bedroom, and I still have like 2 more chapters after this one. So let's get down to it. Chapter 3 in the Daggerheart rulebook, it's all about the Game Masters, meaning it's my favorite chapter because it has a lot of really good pointers. Yeah, it shows you how to play Daggerheart as a... Did I say something different from the name? Anyways, it tells you how to play Daggerheart as a Game Master, but also gives you Game Master tips that you can honestly use for any game that you're running. It's probably my favorite part of the book. Game Master best practices and Game Master pitfalls and what to look out for as a Game Master. And I love that because the way it's described, it's really there to help you out become better as a Game Master and master your craft as a Game Master. Take a shot every time I say master. Master of Puppets pulling the strings. Now I have that song in my head. That song stuck in my head. I've been working. Then I went to a store. Then I started writing. And then I came here to do this. I am tired. Anyways, let's move on. I enjoy everything they do and give the Game Masters a lot of really good pointers. One of them that stuck out to me because that's something a lot of Game Masters do. It tells you, make sure that every roll counts. Don't have your fucking players roll to climb a fucking ladder, dude. You've been running games for longer than I have. You've been a Game Master for what, 25 years? And you still have players rolling to climb a fucking ladder, you fucking asshole? And there's nothing going on around them. It's just they're in a room and there's a ladder and you having them roll to climb a ladder, and they're 45 minutes in real life deciding how they're gonna climb the ladder, and you're having them rolling and failing. When they fail, they fall down. You've been a Game Master for 25 years. What the fuck are you doing? But I digress. Make sure that the rolls the players do matter for the game. If it doesn't really impact the game, just don't have them roll. Just let them succeed. It gives you a lot of ideas on how to do that. It also gives you ideas of, offering players something for automatically succeeding. It's like you automatically succeed, but you take a stress or, some other meta currency that you have, HP or such and such. I do enjoy that. However, I will say this game is not, and I have to repeat, it is not New Game Master friendly. This game is very handholdy when it comes to players, but it is not handholdy when it comes to Game Master. As a Game Master, you really have to sit down, eat the Game Master section, because let me tell you, as a Game Master, you have the reins of the whole game, and of the narrative, and of the rules, and you're the one that has to make shit happen. Because without you, nothing happens, because the game, as it's meant to be played, or at least the idea, is that you shouldn't over-prepare for a session. You should have a lot of notes and the shit you want the players to encounter. But you should be manipulating the plot forward by using your fear points, or by using GM actions when the players either look at you for input, or when there's a lull at the table. The idea is to keep the session moving and not bogged down. That is something that not every Game Master can do, and I understand that. Don't be afraid, however, of running this game and failing at it, because nobody starts off being an amazing Game Master. Nobody, nowhere starts off being a good Game Master. I've been told that I am an amazing Game Master, and I tell everybody, thank you, my first game was a piece of shit. Because it was. And I'm pretty sure everybody that's a humble Game Master will say, yeah, my first game was utter garbage. Because we don't know how to be a Game Master yet. And if you come from a game like Dungeons & Dragons to this game, trust me, you're going to have a lot of pitfalls. You're going to have a lot of difficulties, because Dungeons & Dragons is a different beast from this. In this, you have to be on your toes even more than in Dungeons & Dragons. That is something that you have to take care of, keep aware of, and be self-aware of. Don't be afraid just go for it. But know that this game, it is not new Game Master friendly. It's new player friendly, but it's definitely not new Game Master friendly. The game can be daunting for Game Masters to have decision paralysis, and I understand some people prefer crunchy systems with more specifics for the rules, with more objective rules. This game's rules are more subjective, and they're more of suggestions, and they're more like guidelines than actual rules, because it's a narrative game. With that said, however, when it comes to combat, that is a fucking ambulance, and it's gone, thank goodness. When it comes to combat, or when it comes to general roles, I do enjoy that this game has the Game Master be vastly different from the players, because the Game Masters have different mechanics than the players. And I know you might think, oh yeah, well obviously the Game Master has their own mechanics, but other games, usually how they do it is, whatever the players can do, the Game Master can do, and whatever the Game Master can do, the players can do. This is not that. The players use 2d12s for their rolls, making a bell curve, which I prefer, because that means that the players' rolls are always gonna be between 9 and 12, which is fine. And then rolls of 3s and 4s and 20 and 23s are very hard to achieve, and I think that's pretty cool. Now the Game Master is different, because the Game Master uses a d20, and when they have advantage or disadvantage, they use 2d20s, while the players add 1d6 to the roll, or subtract 1d6 depending on whether it's advantage or disadvantage. I adore that, because I've always believed that Game Masters should have vastly different rules from the players, because ultimately Game Masters are the masters of the game. They're the ones making everything happen, so they should have different rules from the players to be distinct enough. And I believe this game does that really, really, really well. Now, my personal game, and back when I played D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder, I always used a variant rule where the Game Master never has to roll, so I can concentrate on narrating the game. And the system that I've been developing for the past 3 years, that's how it is. The Game Master never rolls anything, unless you want to roll like for a random item or something like that. But generally the Game Master never rolls. In this game they kind of have to. I know you could probably ad hoc it, but then you're giving the players more chances to do attack rolls, or roll the duality dice more often, and they're already generating a lot of currency as it is, so you don't need to get them more. But then you can make like different reaction rolls, and then it can get muddled up. With that said, I do enjoy how the Game Master mechanics work. What I don't really enjoy, and I wish it would have been clearer in the book, or have an additional rule for initiative, because yeah, I believe the weakest aspect of this game is the combat, even though combat is very meaty. But at the moment of running combat per se, you don't have initiative. It's just basically whoever has the spotlight, or whoever wants to act, acts. And that can create conflicts in a table, because if you have a player that is very quick-witted, they could have a lot of ideas, and then they could bog down the rest of the table as they're going idea after idea after idea after idea, and the Game Master has to say, whoa, wait a minute, let the other players take a turn. Because there aren't really turns in combat. It's just everybody helps themselves out. That's the thing. The game should have been clearer at the moment of combat, saying combat is still narrative. Everybody should be helping themselves out. The Game Master should be helping with their descriptions. The player should be helping out with the Game Master's descriptions. And every player should be helping out with each other's descriptions. Because if not, you're just going to have a player with, I attack him, I succeed. I attack him, I succeed. I attack him, I succeed. And it can bog down the rest of the table. That said, the Game Master does get a turn, or get to act, whenever a player misses or rolls with fear. But it's very important that the Game Master is very self-aware of the table, the mood, what's happening, to decide what happens. The Game Master in this And this system serves more as an arbiter, as a referee, than in other systems, I feel, especially when it comes to combat. And I know that the crew in Critical Role makes it look very easy with what they've run, but think about it. How many of you can say that you've had the same group for the past 5 years? I'm counting from the 10 people that have seen this video, I'm counting one. Not that many. Not that many. So it requires you to have a certain level of trust and know-how between you and your players to make that work. And if you go to a new place to run this and you're playing with 5 randos, 5 new people that you've never met, moods can get a bit hot and heavy during combat because you might have a lot of people talking over each other. Maybe the game master is non-confrontational, they don't know how to control the table. Just be careful. I would have rather have some sort of initiative rules. I know I can do it because that's basically how I run my tables anyways. Usually I just have people go around the table describing what they do and directions in combat. And you can totally do this here. And if somebody doesn't know what to do, you can just skip the person. Just, okay, what do you do now? You don't know? Okay, let's go to the next person. What do you do now? And just keep it moving. Don't get stuck on a player that doesn't know what to do. Just tell them, don't worry, we'll circle back to you. As soon as you know what you want to do, let me know, and we'll go back. But again, this requires a very specific type of game master to make it work. It's not for everybody, and when you're planning a game of this, you gotta be careful once you go into combat because it can get very murky, very muddy if you are not careful. And I say this for all those new game masters that are out there. A lot of different narrative systems do have stuff in place in the rules when it comes to combat. This one doesn't really do that. And even with the game master, you can spend the fear to just interrupt the player. That has its own kind of worms that I'm gonna get to now because I have to refresh the fucking camera. One of the biggest issues I've seen with this is the whole fear system. Because as a game master, you can just spend fear to have something happen. And I can see a table where people don't know each other that well, and people might start complaining or accusing the game master of ganging up on a specific player. That's why I keep saying you need a very specific type of player and game master to run this. I've come to joke with my friends that if you're gonna play this game, you need to take therapy. You need therapy before you run this game, because if not, like I can see a table where people's feelings get hurt, and when they ruminate over game master actions, even though the game master's just, oh, I thought of something very interesting, let me spend a fear point and have something happen. And I can see players taking that personally. Don't take it personally. It's a game. It's meant for everybody to have fun, and those are the game master mechanics. I say that to say this, as a game master, don't gang up on your fucking players. Again, you've been a game master for 25 fucking years. You should know better. You fucking asshole. Anyways. One of the other things is, the game does, the chapter does end, reminding game masters to remember to add the player's backstory to the campaign. Something that I've seen more game masters do, and I'm very happy for that, but I've seen a lot of old game masters still very like holding on to the plot of their own fucking story, and it's like, dude, it's not your story, it's everybody's story. And I told my players, because my players are new, and they're like, oh, can I add this to the game? And I'm like, of course. Oh, can I have this in my backstory and be part of the game? I'm like, yes, of course. That gives me more material for my game. And eventually I add everybody's backstory somehow to the main plot, because I do have a main plot, and the way I see it, every player has their own plot, and the main plot, it's my plot. So I make sure that all their plots combine to my plot somehow, because everybody should be having fun. Even this one that's here, the guy that usually pays for the pizza, and the guy that, you know, offers his house and his accommodations to the player, because we do play in my house, and sometimes I buy them food, and heck, I sometimes cook for them. Last year I made them buffalo steaks. It was pretty fucking epic for Thanksgiving, because I don't like turkey. Game Masters, you can do better, and I believe that the chapter for Game Masters in this book can help you out. Is it worth $60? I don't think so. I believe there are books that you can buy to become a better Game Master. No Game Master is perfect. Get that shit out of your head. This book has a really good resource also on Session 0, which I believe is the most important session in any campaign. I run Session 0s even with my permanent group when we go to a new campaign, because sensibilities can change from one week to the next. So I like to stay on top of that and make sure that my players feel comfortable. Make sure that if they have developed any new fears, any new tics, any new triggers, to let me know so I can accommodate them at any moment. This book talks about the X card, and I believe that's very important, because sometimes you don't want your players to feel uncomfortable. I remember once I had a very cool scene that I had written down for a game I ran like over 5 years ago now. That was pre-COVID times. And one of the players got triggered because I was using church bells, and I played a church bell sound, and they got triggered because their mother had died recently, and they remembered the church bells, and they told me, can we please skip the church bells? And I'm like, no problem. And I paused it, and then after the game they told me what had happened, and I'm like, hey, no problem, it's okay. I paused it, and they're like, oh no, I'm sorry because I ruined your scene. And I'm like, don't worry about it, it's just a game. The point is for everybody to have fun. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable on my table, because I want people to keep coming to my table. So, like we moved on from that, and to this day that player does share that story of what I did, because I believe it's important to accommodate people and make sure that everybody is having, say it with me now, fun. That's it for chapter 3 in the Game Master section. I do like it personally because I've ran so many narrative heavy games that this fit on me like a glove. It was very pick up and easy to play for me, but it's because I've been running narrative games for years, so it's very easy. I feel like I have a very it's not unique because I know there are other people like me, but I believe I have a very particular point of view for this game, because and let's be honest, most dungeon tours, the reason they're called dungeon tours in the fucking first place is because most people that do anything tabletop role-playing games, TTRPG related, on YouTube and on the web, is because they play Dungeons and Dragons. Understandable, it's the most widely available game on the market, is the most famous one, but most of them talk and see things from a point of view of a Dungeons and Dragons game master or Dungeons and Dragons player. I'm seeing this book from the point of view as a narrative game master, and as a narrative game master I can tell you everything we've seen up until now has been great, with the exception of starting and running combat. To me it's not hard, but I can see how a lot of people could have difficulties doing that. I even saw a fucking live play of someone that wanted to run this before anybody else, so they were apparently not running with the rules as they were supposed to be ran, because he was talking about, oh yeah, after this person's turn we'll go to the second round. There are no rounds in this game. In combat there are no rounds, there are no turns. It is just combat encounter, and that's it. So like when you're gonna come into this game, you have to remove a lot of the nomenclatures and trappings that you have learned from Dungeons and Dragons, and think to yourself, this is a narrative game, this is a completely different system, and that is okay. And now we'll go to the next chapter.